had a normal day, went to bed, I was laying in bed, and my brother called me at about 10 o'clock at night, and he told me there's a fire, and it's maybe coming towards the house.
There were two fires that came through that night. The first fire came in from the north, and that came to the edge of the community about 10:30 at night. The fire department defended the community. They saved every house, but then as the fire moved toward the downtown area, the fire department left too. They went on to fight the fire along that broader front. There was another fire coming from the east. There was a bright glow in the sky, and this glow kept getting brighter and brighter and brighter as the second fire was coming towards our community. And the wind was blowing 59 miles per hour. It was incredible, and it was so dry, and it was hot. And I told Thomas, don't come down. It'll all be over by the time you get here.
At that point, I couldn't sleep, so I'm like, okay, I'm going down to Ventura, gonna see what's going on.
And then it must have been about 3 o'clock when we went up to the hill at the end of our street, and we looked on the other side and we could see the flames. The ashes were falling in our eyes. We saw embers falling. We ran back to the house. We gathered the last of our possessions. We got in our cars and we left.
Drove up to my neighborhood. I got there about 2 in the morning. My parents evacuated, all the neighbors evacuated. At some point I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna stick around and see what happens. And it just kept getting worse and worse. The whole sky was orange. There was ash and embers and little bits of trash blowing all over the place. I'm like, all right, this is it. Like, I'll stick it out and see what happens. Fire came over the hill, and the houses at the top of the street started catching fire. I was just running around the house all night, putting out little spots. The bushes started catching on fire. The back deck caught on fire at one point. All the retaining logs in the backyard caught fire. And I was just running laps, putting them out with the hose. A couple hours into the night, the water pressure shut down due to the electricity going out and the pumps went out. So I had no water. At that point I had water bottles, I had a shovel, and I had some dirt. And I was basically just shoveling dirt on fire and using water bottles. That's how I put out our deck, with just water bottles. I had 2 cars turned on, parked facing down the hill, so in case I needed to evacuate, I could jump in the car and take off really quick.
I'm on my parents' deck trying to save their house. Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work out. It's not looking good. There's the neighbor's house. Another neighbor's house, gone. Here's the whole neighborhood. Done. Everything flattened. My parents' house. Made it through the night. Can't say the same for the whole neighborhood.
It was very scary. I never want to do anything like that again. I was on my own. I didn't have a crew with me. I didn't have a fire engine or water. This time I was just on my own, didn't know what was going to happen. And luckily the house made it through the night. Half the neighborhood didn't.
Rebuilding begins. It's been a week now and our yard's still smoking.
We're calling it man-made. The conditions were part of climate change. The Thomas Fire is the largest fire in California history. And it didn't happen during the dry season, it happened during the wet season. And something else happened last year. The summer of 2017 is the hottest summer on record for California. It's a scientific fact. California is getting hotter and drier.
Senate Bill 100, our pathway to 100% clean energy. Think about this.
Fellow science lovers.
I mean, ultimately, we have committed ourselves to drought on this side of the country. If in the southwest U.S., we will get more frequent and more severe droughts, and we're likely to even get what mega droughts. Those are the kind of droughts that they had, like that created the Dust Bowl, for example.
The epicenter of the drought is Ventura County. We've had a 6-year drought. We would normally receive, on average, 16 inches of rain per year. But right now, it's the driest wet season on record. We haven't even received 4 inches of rain.
You know, when 95% of the scientists in the world believe that climate change is real, it's hard to disagree. I think that a lot of people are slowly coming to the conclusion that climate change is happening and it is real. Eventually people will wake up. I mean, they're going to have to, otherwise it's extinction for us all.
4 million Californians live within a mile of an oil or gas well. California's dirty oil problem is a public health emergency.
Well, first off, I would say educate yourself in terms of knowing what the issues are, know what the science behind the climate change is. You know, just keep up to date with the news. The other thing is, if you are interested, you can volunteer. Like, I work for the Center for Biological Diversity. We welcome volunteers with our work. So volunteering with your favorite organization is another way. Voting is also important because ultimately the leaders we elect are the ones who make the decisions that impact all of us. Engage with your representatives. Write comment letters. If enough people get behind an issue, if a representative gets enough letters, then that issue is taken seriously. Politicians are driven largely by what will get me reelected. So really bring issues to their attention and get your friends and get as many people as you can centered around an issue and let that politician know that this is an issue that's important to you and it's important to other people.
I know that we have at least one thing in common. We know that science itself is not a point of view. Instead, science is, to put it simply, a process for discovering the truth.